They claim they do not want to accept the biblical or Christian worldview for insufficient reason or evidentiary support. Yet when it comes to their not Christian worldview, their worldview doesn't measure up to that criterion. And so when we bring the worldview conflict issue, saying that in the Christian worldview, the God of Christianity and consequently the Christian worldview is indispensable, and it's exclusive and it's indispensable, they don't refute that. Because in order to refute it, they would have to show that their worldview is exclusive and indispensable, but they never defend it. So what do? They just do yada yada yada, bicker bicker bicker, and then they become motor mouse and they rabbit trail, they evade. Okay, this is what they do. This is precisely what she did. Okay, it's that simple. If anybody in the audience wants to come up and discuss Christian presuppositionalism and is it fallacious or the existence of God or not God, just raise your hand and come on up.
Darth, I'm a God believer, but
Okay.
would you say that it matters on how so I liked your argument with her because you said if you were to perceive your mind, then why would you not perceive God? Because how could your mind exist in a godless world? Which is a good argument. So I
Yeah,
believe,
let me go over that real quick again for
yeah,
those who are new. Okay.
yeah,
And you stop me at any time because I don't want to capitalize on top of you. Okay. So in the Christian worldview, what we have is God is that which is ultimate. He is self-contained, and everything derives and depends upon him. So we could categorize God as the rational. Okay, he is the mind, the rational. He then creates the world, and then he imbues certain aspects of his creation, such as angels and humans, to be like himself, meaning that they possess that they are categorized as the rational. So God, the rational, begets the rational humans. When one rejects that notion, they are proclaiming, whether they realize it or not, that they are exemplars or instances of the rational. But the question is, from whence comes rationality? Okay?
right.
How does the not rational beget the rational? And here's what I mean by that. Whatever one considers to be ultimate or fundamental or foundational, if you consider that to be not God, whatever that is, then it would not be classified or categorized as the rational. Not that I'm not at this juncture saying believing in that is irrational, although later on I might say that it is irrational to believe that. But what I'm saying is that whatever is deemed to be fundamental is not the rational, it is the not rational. And it then, whatever way it continues, they think that it would eventually beget the rational themselves. How does the not rational beget the rational? They have no answer to this. And saying that it's an emergent property of evolution is begging the question. Okay? And even people in their own camp recognize that if evolution is true, okay, and determinism is true, then we are not rational beings, although we think we are. Okay? So go ahead, Shay.
Yeah, well, I kind of see your stance because you've repeated it a few times in the room and other rooms that I've been in. But my question is like when she was defending her view, and you said that she couldn't defend her view,
She was
and
just giving gobbledygook.
well, right, but she's trying to defend, I would say, and you're defending your view, but back in the day, like the way religions did this was with defending with swords and guns, and I think that people try to defend their views so much that it creates different views. So in my opinion, when it came down to the philosophy of it, where we both believe in God and we both believe in our, because you did the argument where if you believe your mind exists and you believe God exists, but I don't think you have to necessarily be Hindu or Christian or Muslim or
Yeah.
whatever to
Let me
stand with
just
that. You could be
let me
anything.
just make one point, okay?
Hmm.
Most conflicts in human history have not been religious. They may contain a religious element, but most conflicts are geopolitical in nature. Okay?
Hey,
Right.
maybe you can give her your Google Drive, Dorothy. Maybe she can learn a lot from it, because I learn a lot from it, and I'm still
Now,
learning.
the point is, when you confront them with the systemic problems within their own belief system, what do? They just resort to jibber jabber, yada yada yada. Want, and they just talk your ear off, and they're not dealing substantively what they're presenting. She talked out of both sides of their mouth. On the one hand, she wants to say that things possess ontological status, but then she wants to say that that ontological status is only a human conception. Okay.
Yeah, Dorothy.
Now, so
Yeah.
so so for so in other words, that the only reason why there's dogness is because there's minds that conceptualize that categoriness of that thing moving in your front yard. Okay. Well, then there's no ontological status of dogness. Then it's just a human conceptualization that that thing possesses an ontological category, but the ontological status is not real. Yet she says it's not fictional. She just wants to think that these categories are human constructs only. Oh, okay, good. So then if it's a human construct only, all right, then what she's spewing is just fiction. She wants to
It's
have
sort of
her
like,
cake and she wants to have her cake and eat it too. On the one hand, she wants to talk about dogs and trees and houses, and rocks. But then she wants to turn around and just say, well, these are just human constructs. There's just a human conventionality. But then reflecting on ourselves as human is just a conventionality, and that there aren't really humans. It's just that these things that have neurological activity going around, think that it does. I mean, it's just look. The reason why people are atheists, it's ethical. It's not intellectual. It's ideological and it's ethical. They don't want to repent of the God that they know, so they collect for themselves all sorts of cliches. Okay, as to why they don't have to believe. It's that simple. It's not because they have a lack of information. They have all the information they need to believe in God, right? In fact, they know God exists. That's why they spend so much. That's why they put so much mental effort into their mental gymnastics to evade that they don't know God. So, for example, I say to them all the time, "Why don't you believe in God?" Excuse me. And they'll say, "Well, because there's no evidence for God." Say, "Well, can you defend that?" And then they'll say, "Well, you're the one making the God claim." And you see how they just play games,
But even
and
if
that
they did believe in God, I feel like it's not good enough for
oh, don't
Darth.
say that. No, let's just say.
no, look. If it was the case, look, let me make this very clear to you. All right, either it is the case God is, or it is not the case. In a world where God is, God can only be invoked if and only if God takes the initiative to reveal Himself in creation. Okay? You cannot disconnect the invocation of God from God revealing Himself in creation. If you do, then there is no God to speak of. Okay? So either God is, and He is the creator and revealed Himself, and consequently, therefore, God is ultimate, and therefore, everything, every breath we take, when the tree blows in the wind, everything is a part of God, it derives from God's mind, purpose, and plan, and hence we're creaturely, or not. When they reject that God is, by virtue that He's revealed Himself, they now place themselves into a metaphysic, a worldview of complete chance. There is nothing identifiable and defensible that dictates why anything is.
Right, and I agree with you. So let's say I
There's
was an
boundaries.
atheist, right? And let's say I dumped my non-God world and I replaced it with a God world, and now I
Right,
adopted a God world, right? Would
right.
that be acceptable if I don't claim myself as a Christian?
When you say, is it not acceptable, I don't know quite what you
Well,
mean.
because I feel like, you said, well, Muslims and Hindus and Jews and all these people have an imperfect God. So to me, that is the concern because that's an unsafe world, in my
Well,
opinion.
their gods are no god at all. They're simply confabulations of the human mind trying to escape the perfect God that they know, who
Isn't
reveals
that
himself
the
in
equivalent
creation.
of you saying the word
Excuse me.
kafir, like how Muslims call Christians kafirs?
You mean kafir?
It's kafir.
Okay, kafir. Okay. Um, how are you defining kafir?
Kafir means infidel, like does not believe in God.
Well, anyone who doesn't believe in the one true God is an unbeliever in the
So
Bible.
if Christians
Mm-hmm.
say that
I was,
about Muslims and Muslims say that about Christians, then isn't that a fucked up world? Excuse my language.
No, no, no. It's you have to understand that the invocation of the God of the Bible versus the invocation of the God of Islam are not on a level playing field.
But here,
Their God is no God. All right, listen to me. Okay, if we talk about God, okay, as the ultimate, either that God will be perfect or not. If God is not perfect, then he's no God at all. Okay, right? How are you going to instantiate a not perfect God? Okay,
well,
let me explain this to you. If we posit that there is a creator God and that he is not the God of Christianity, who is perfect, right? Then he's going to be deficit in certain ways. Then we're going to be in an incoherent world because we're not
yeah.
dealing with a God who is perfect. The God of Islam is not perfect in spite of the fact that Muslims claim that he is. We can clearly see this by looking at the Quran. Muslims just turn a blind eye to Muhammad's numerous mistakes. Okay? So, in order for God to be God, he must be ultimate. He must also be perfect, right? On perfect on his own terms, not, for example, measuring up to perfection that is contrived by human standards. Okay? Like, for example, atheists might say, well, your God isn't perfect because he drowned people in the flood. Okay? The point is that we can know that the God of the Bible is the one true God because he exemplifies perfection. Okay? All other gods cannot exemplify perfection. So what God, we're not
But
talking about an ultimate God. Okay? Unless we're dealing with a God who is ultimate and perfect, then we're not dealing with God at all. Okay? So for example, if somebody invokes a God, but he doesn't control everything that comes to pass. In other words, not that we're robots, but that certain things that happen that he can't control, okay, or he cannot sign off or permit, or he can't prevent. Well, then we're dealing in a world where
yeah,
we're not going to be able
around
to ultimately know anything unless God is perfect. In a world, if God isn't perfect, then we can't know. We can't know things. Okay, God has to be perfect. He has to be entirely self-conscious of himself, and consequently, he will therefore be omniscient of what comes to pass because it originates in his mind, his purpose, and his plan, including the free choices of human beings. But if we have an imperfect God, then how is he going to ensure that we can know things? Okay? So the point is this, is all of these other gods are no gods at all. They're just simply pathetic human imitations of the real thing. They're not real. Look, I'm sure you're aware of. Have you ever known anybody who had either a real or an imitation Gucci bag? Shay,
Yeah, but well,
have
yeah,
you ever?
but I'm not
Have
gonna
you ever?
go. I'm not gonna go destroy Chinatown.
No, no, but Shay, but you know that counterfeit Gucci bags are not Gucci bags.
I'm still not gonna kill
They're
the
not
person
Gucci.
holding it.
That's not what we're talking about here. The point, what I'm trying to tell you is all these other God concepts, other than the God of the Bible, are counterfeit. They don't exist. None of these gods are perfect. Okay?
But there's still people holding them.
And the reason why they hold to it is because they are in a continued state of rebellion against the one true God. Okay? Right? That is why the Bible teaches
Oh
that
yeah. Right.
people. Well, you can disagree with that, but you see, you're not in a. Okay, let me explain this, Steve.
You should have no.
When I say something is true or false, okay, about the Bible, the God of the Bible, or for that matter, that let's say I'm holding a piece of plastic in my hand. What I say is true or false ultimately because it originates in the mind of God and it conforms to the mind of the God of the Bible. Now, let me ask you this question. When you say something is true, what ultimately makes it true?
There, to me, I don't have an ultimate truth.
Therefore, when you reject what I am saying, it is because it doesn't conform and cohere to the figment of your imagination. Now, if you tell me, oh no, this belief that I have, XYZ, that's at odds with what you believe, Darth, is not a figment of my imagination. I'll say, and you believe in not XYZ, like let's say I believe in not XYZ, and you, Shay, believe in XYZ. And so I assert not XYZ, and you say, well, I don't accept that. I don't believe that. In my world, I will say not XYZ is true if and only if it originates in the mind of God and is commensurate with the mind of God. On the other hand, when you hold that XYZ is true, to use it to contradict my statement of not XYZ, you don't have an ultimate reference point as to why XYZ is true.
But that
Okay?
doesn't change. That doesn't like
Well, let me
outwager
explain to
us.
you. Let me explain to you why it is. In order for us to know anything at all, okay, in the Christian worldview, it has to be in some aspect of God's creation and revelation. God's revelation is much broader than most people conceive. So, for example, when you and I look at the moon on a cloud free night, biblically speaking, that's a revelation of God. Okay? Now, if if I correctly think about my world, okay, then that's a revelation of God, right? My ability to even think is a revelation of God, right? Now, in order for me to know certain things that are true in the Christian worldview, it has to originate in the mind of God because he's the creator. God has to first know it. He then creates a world by which I can know certain things. Okay? So my knowing certain things are true are revelational because of God's creation and his providence because he is ultimate and he's perfect. But if you reject that and you tell me that you know certain truths that are in opposition to what I say, then I will simply ask you, on what basis can you know anything? If you're going to oppose what I am recapitulating what the Bible says and you reject that, then on what basis do you know the opposite?
Well, I'm just confused to where you think you have this reach to a higher consciousness and I
Well,
don't.
can
Is
you
that
answer
what
my
you're saying?
question? Can you
Well,
answer my question? If
I'm
you
trying to
disagree with
understand
any,
your
okay,
question.
all right. If you disagree with anything I say, right? If you say to me, Darth, why do you believe X, Y, and Z? Darth, why do you believe that water bottles are made of plastic? It doesn't matter what it is. I will tell you that I believe certain things and I know certain things ultimately because they originate and will be commensurate with the mind of God. Okay? That's why beliefs or knowledge, sometimes there's a fine line between knowledge and belief. Okay? Um, the only reason why I can come to believe things that are true is because of God's creation and creative revelations. Okay? When I say revelations, I mean in the broad sense. Okay? Now, you don't do you accept that?
I'm trying to
That we can all
understand what you just said. So are you saying
okay,
that
if
you don't
if I if I believe that the moon orbits the earth, okay, and I look at that moon on a cloud-free night, okay, and I believe that the moon orbits the earth. In the Christian worldview, I can only believe that and that it's true and know that it's true because it first originates in the mind of God as the creator and sovereign Lord, where God creates a world where the moon orbits the earth, and I can come to know that. Now, do you believe that?
do I believe that you know that the moon is
Can I? Okay, do you believe that in order to know anything at all, right, that it has to first originate in the mind of God?
Can I follow up on
That
my
God
answer? Like, can I answer and then follow it up?
Of course, of course. And by the way, I don't mind your objecting because you're civil. You're not typically trollish like most people are. All I want to know is, do you agree or disagree that in order for you to know something in actuality, it first has to originate in the mind of God? Do you believe that?
So I'm gonna say yes because I think that all knowledge already exists. We just have to come in front of the knowledge to actually know the knowledge, but it's not like we can
Okay.
come up with anything on
Okay.
our
Now,
own.
is your God ultimate and perfect in order for you to know something?
I believe that there's only one God. I don't think you have a God and I have a God. I think we have different definitions of our
No.
God.
Do you? Okay. No. Here's the deal. So we agree that in order to know something, it must first originate in the mind, the purpose, and the plan of God. Okay? You do not accept that that God is characteristically the God of the Bible. Am I correct?
Well, I think there's only one God.
Okay. Is that God the God of the Bible
Yes,
who
he's
has
the God
revealed
of
himself through the
everything.
course of human history? No, no. Is he the God described in the Bible?
Yeah, he could be.
No, no. I didn't ask you if he could be. Because if you say he could be, he could also could not be.
Well, I think everyone is talking about the same
Either,
God.
all right, all right. No, no, no. You're misunderstanding this. Okay. This notion that we're all talking about the same God is convoluted. Okay, because all God concepts are there. How shall I put this? They're mutually exclusive. Okay. Either you hold that the God who is the God who gave us the Bible necessarily, or you don't hold that that is necessarily the case.
But wouldn't that be a contradiction since all the books
No,
say that there
no,
is only one
no.
God?
You're not understanding this. Okay. Either you accept that the God who is the God of the Bible necessarily, or you don't accept that necessarily. So, which is your position?
Oh, I don't.
Okay. Well, then that is a de facto denial of the God of the Bible. Now, then the question is, since you are denying the God of the Bible, how are you able to affirm or anything? What are the characteristics of your God that allow you to affirm or deny anything? What is your God? What are his characteristics? And did
Okay,
he create a world so that you can know things?
so I don't believe in one book. I believe that there's one God, as all the books
Okay.
mentioned. But
What are your God's attributes?
my God's attributes are literally everything to ever encompass.
Is your God perfect?
The God of all everything is perfect. He's not my God, he's our
And
God.
and okay, and did that God reveal that to you?
I'd like to believe that in the mind of God that I perceive
No.
in my
Did
brain.
did did the God that you hold to reveal that he's perfect?
Yes.
Where?
Just like how I can't describe to you my mind, I can't describe to you where either.
Okay, so God hasn't given some authoritative declaration about himself. You see, what you're positing here is a God that's just a figment of your imagination. God hasn't, other than your free floating ideas, has your God revealed himself in an authoritative way that is undeniable and irrefutable? See, the God
Yeah,
of the
because
Bible
my
has
heart is
done.
beating.
All right, listen to me. The God of the Bible has revealed himself in such a way, not only through creation, but in and through the scriptures and ultimately in Jesus Christ, in that the Christian worldview representative of the Christian scriptures are undeniable and irrefutable. Has your God done that?
Yes, because I believe in your God
Wait,
too,
wait,
but I know that you're
no,
not,
no,
you're
no,
kind
no,
of
no,
painting me.
no. You do not believe in the God of the Bible because you told me that you said. Let me put it this way: the God of the Bible, according to him, and I will put it in my words, okay, is a God who cannot not exist, meaning the God of the Bible. But you told me that the God who is might be the God of the Bible or he might be some other God. But you see, that's not the God of the Bible. So, on the one hand, you want to tell me that you kind of believe in the God of the Bible, but that he might not be the God of the Bible. Do you see your duplicity?
Yeah, but I also see that you
Well, then you
are,
don't believe in it. Look, unless you believe in the exclusivity and the indispensability of the God of the Bible, then you don't believe in him. You do not believe in the exclusivity and the indispensability of the God of the Bible. Okay?
do you feel like the word count is fair? Like your words count comparing to
Okay.
my word count?
Okay. Okay. Do you understand it when I say the exclusivity of the God of the Bible? In other words, the God of the Bible's characteristics are exclusive to himself. In other words, no other God can have his character set. Okay? Do you understand that statement?
Yeah.
Okay. So the God of the Bible's character set, when we read through the Bible, we find out that his character set compositely is exclusive. In other words, no other God can have his character set. Okay?
But there's only one God.
You're not focusing. You got to put on your thinking cap. If you don't believe in the God of the Bible being exclusive in terms of his character set and indispensable, if you don't believe that, then you do not believe in the God of the Bible. The God of the Bible
But you're
makes himself.
confining God. You're confining
Are
God
you
to a
listening?
book.
You know what? You are purposely not focusing on what I'm saying to you. Do you accept that the character set known as the God of the Bible, his character set, is exclusive and indispensable to himself and to no other? Do you accept that or not? Do you have an answer?
I mean, I just don't like that I'm a part of your agenda. I feel like we're playing chess, and I feel
I'm asking you a simple, fair question. Is the God of the Bible's character, his composite character set, exclusive?
I don't believe that. No.
Okay. Therefore, because he's not exclusive, he's therefore not indispensable. So you do not believe in the exclusivity and the indispensability of the God of the Bible. Are we clear on your position?
Can I explain?
No, no. Are we? No, I don't need any explanation. I know your position probably better than you do. Okay. What I'm trying to say to you is that we're making it clear. Your position is that the God of the Bible's character set as God is not exclusive nor indispensable. That is your position, correct?
And sure, if that's the only option.
Okay, then you don't believe in the God of the Bible because the God of the Bible teaches in the Bible that he is exclusive and he is indispensable. You, on the one hand, you want to tell me that you believe in the God of the Bible, but the God who is might not be the God of the Bible. So you don't believe in the God of the Bible. You can't believe in the God of the Bible because the God of the Bible says that he's exclusive and he's indispensable. So you don't believe in the God of the Bible.
Right.
Okay? You can't. Okay? Now, so then your God, how have you been a recipient of his composite character set? Where'd you get that from?
Because I believe God created me. I'm here, so obviously I received my light.
No, I'm asking you, has God in some type of authoritative manner revealed himself to a broad scope of humanity through the course of human history as to his composite character set? Has your God done that?
Yes.
Where and when?
I personally believe that when the sun comes up and the moon come up, that's a miracle, and to me, that's God showing himself.
No, I think you're misunderstanding the nature of a miracle. Okay, first of all, the sun rising, the sun setting, and the moon orbiting the Earth wouldn't get you to God being always truth revealing. Is your God always truth revealing?
Well, can I ask you one question?
Sure.
Okay, since you said that you get the truth from the mind of God and that you believe that the earth is the moon is orbiting the moon is orbiting the earth because you got that from the mind of God. Why did Christians fight Galileo when he told them that the earth wasn't flat? Is it because why did
Okay.
they know
All right.
that?
That's a good question. Good. By the way, in spite of our disagreements, I want to compliment you that you are disagreeing in, I would say, a fairly intelligent and non-trollish manner. Most people who I end up disagreeing with, even for a prolonged period of time, end up being trolls, and you're not doing that. So I want to compliment you. Okay. So, in spite of the fact that I disagree with you, I don't think that you're not intelligent. In fact, I think you're very intelligent. By the way, how old are you?
29.
Okay. All right. You sound younger than you do. Okay. And I greatly appreciate when people will even disagree with me, but they do so in a non-trollish fashion, and you haven't resorted to any of that, and I appreciate that. So when it comes to Galileo, um, the issue with Galileo, many people have a superficial understanding of what happened, that they hear through word of mouth rather than reading what actually happened. What was going on in the opposition with Galileo, and by the way, did you say the Earth was flat?
No, they put him in jail because he said the earth
No,
wasn't flat.
no. Galileo said nothing about the Earth being flat.
Was it gravity?
No. The issue was this, okay? Prior to Galileo and Copernicus, the cosmological worldview was the it's late and I'm tired. I'm trying to remember the term. I think it's the Aristotelian view. The Aristotelian cosmology was that the Earth was the center of the universe and that everything revolved around the Earth, including the sun. Okay, that was the Aristotelian view. Okay, and it's a comprehensive world. Well, maybe I shouldn't say worldview, but it's a comprehend. I'll just say worldview for shorthand, right? When Copernicus came along with the discovery of telescopes, it allowed for a more accurate recording of the movement of the planets as they understood it. And so Copernicus came up with certain calculations where, in his brilliance, he realized that the explanation that the universe revolves around the Earth was not the best explanation. The Aristotelian view was called geocentrism. Have you ever heard that term? It was called geocentric. Okay, rather than the heliocentric view, was that the Earth orbited the sun. So Galileo, from him studying things from telescopes, came up with a competing theory of the solar system. And the competing theory of the solar system was between the geocentric versus the heliocentric view. Okay, it had nothing to do with the Earth being flat. Okay, and in fact, there never was widespread belief in a flat Earth during the Middle Ages. That's a myth. Okay, there may have been some isolated people groups who might have believed in a flat Earth, but I don't think anybody would be able to show me historically where there was widespread belief in a flat Earth. But that's another subject. So Galileo was jailed because he was opposing the status quo. Do you know what I mean by status quo? The prevailing consensus. Okay. So Galileo, and you have to remember, at the time of Galileo, the church was also the reins of political power as well. So these weren't merely just religious personages, these were also political figures. So if you're going to indict the persecution of Galileo on church authorities, then you might as well indict them as political figures as well. Okay? So, but you see, most of the time you'll hear that it was religious persecution rather than a political persecution. It's a religious or a political persecution, depending on how you want to look at it. But the issue was that it wasn't that the Bible taught geocentrism, right? It was just simply that the Aristotelian view, which was the dominant view for many, many centuries, was held in consensus. And so because he was presenting a view which would overthrow the many centuries consensus of geocentrism in favor of heliocentrism, that the Earth orbited the sun, this is why they persecuted him. And I would say that the persecution was every much as political as people want to claim it was religious. Okay? So does that answer your question?
Well, yeah, it does, but then also I'm trying to think, well, then wouldn't the mind of God not apply to politicians like it would to just any normal Christian?
No, what I'm saying is your view of God is problematic. You don't have a God who has revealed himself through the course of human history to a wide spectrum. Okay, when we look at the Bible throughout the human history, okay, God's revelation has been progressive, and then it culminated 2,000 years ago. So we've had a wide distribution of a biblical influence in terms of the scriptures throughout the last 2 millennia. Okay, where the God of the Bible has revealed even further characteristics of and about himself other than what can be inferred from creation. So the God that you believe in is not the God in the Bible. So when I ask you, then what is your how has your God revealed himself? Did your God actually reveal himself in creation, or do you just surmise that he did? Did your God reveal himself? Is your God a salvific God? Does your God does he consider the human condition right now abnormal?
What do you mean by that?
Is the human condition now on the planet normal?
What do you mean by normal?
The way people are on this planet. People lie, people cheat. Okay, people do wrong things all the time. We have to have governments, we have to have police, we have to have militaries. Is this normal?
It's not godly.
By
No,
normal, I think
no,
he means
no. Okay,
acceptable.
what I mean is, uh, um, is the human condition fallen?
Okay, so we have angels, we have devils, we have gods, and we have
No.
humans.
Are humans in a fallen state, or are humans right now as God purposed and intended them to be?
The second one.
Okay. So human beings are not fallen in your view.
No.
Okay, so your God is okay with the lying, the cheating, and the stealing, and the killing, and the barbarism
Well,
that's going on.
if God wasn't okay with it, he could change it because he's all the powerful. But
That's not the issue. The issue is your God okay with this human conduct to the annals of human history? Is your God okay with the human condition, or is he not okay?
I think he's okay.
Okay, so then you have a God who finds lying, cheating, and stealing, and murdering, and raping, and pillaging to be acceptable.
No.
That's your
No, I
God.
didn't say acceptable. I said okay.
Okay. Well, then that's a distinction without a difference.
Well,
Anyway, I have to go in a minute because it's very, very late here. Okay, so I don't want to blow you off, but I do have to go. But we'll have to talk again. You raise very intelligent questions, and in spite of whatever disagreements we have, I wish I could meet more people like you who disagree in an intelligent and a mature fashion. And I'm not trying to butter you up, since I'm going, but when I come across somebody who conducts themselves in a completely mature fashion and who just doesn't sit there and cave into Darth Dawkins questions, I can respect that,
I talked to her
and I
last
want I
night.
want to give a thumbs up to that.
I think
Yeah,
she's a very thoughtful person from what I've
yes.
experienced. So I am
Well,
was
why
pretty
can't we have more
impressed by
people
her.
like this? Well, yeah. Why is it that on Discord and on Clubhouse we just have one, troglodyte after another? Shay
Mm.
puts to shame the 99.9% of unbelievers that I encounter. Okay, this is how you disagree. This is how you debate. She's not taking what I'm saying hook, line, and sinker. She's intelligently and respectfully disagreeing, um, without being intimidated, right? And there's no
I'd
fireworks
say
or anything like that.
I think like most of the people on here, like people in real life, don't want to deal with them because they have like a personality disorder, or a drug problem, or something. So they come on here because like no one to talk to.
Very funny. Listen, I do have to go, Shay, but I want to tell you that it's been a pleasure talking with you, and I hope we can talk some more.
oh, thank you, Darth. Thank you so
You
much.
know,
I think you're
you
very
know.
intelligent too,
Well,
obviously.
I think you're intelligent. In spite
Thank
of our
you.
disagreements, I don't question your intelligence.